All right, everybody. Today I'm joined by Jennifer, founder and CEO of Arlington Strategy, a high impact marketing agency launched in 2012 that helps small businesses and organizations in the Northern Virginia and D.C. metro area grow with purpose driven strategy. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Chris, it's so great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, my pleasure. Jennifer, maybe catch us up and or give us the 3000 overview of how you started your agency and what the last 12 years has been like.
So we just hit 13 years, which is exciting for me as a late in life Swiftie. Shout out to all the others out there. I started the business. Honestly, it was in the beginning, it was like I wanted a job. And I had been working in-house as a marketing director for a brand for a number of years, and I wanted to have the experience of having my hands in lots of different things and not a single brand, and so I thought the way to do that is to consult, right? So I started in this, like, consultancy mindset, and then after about a year realized, 1, I hit my maximum billable hours, right? I'm one person, I can only do so much. And 2, it was lonely. I wanted to build a team and to build a brand and be able to do something that was bigger than just me. And so I started down that process of growing the agency and have maximized my team size. We've been this size now for going on probably 4 or 5 years, about 7 people internal and then a number of contractors. It's a nice manageable size, and we work with just a variety of businesses. Usually, they're growth stage, existing brands who've worked with other agencies. They're investing in advertising or strategy and really looking for a partner that's small and nimble and can really embed ourselves as part of their team, and that's what we do.
Awesome. And I'm curious for other agency owners that are listening that are pushing up against that threshold of their first multi six, seven figures. For you in your early stages, what was the one growth lever that made the biggest difference for you?
Growing the team. It's the scariest thing. I remember thinking, like, "I can't afford this," and then it's, do you hire someone who's got potential but doesn't demand a big salary or of all those sort of numerical decision making, but I've never added to the team and regretted it from a growth perspective because and it's almost the intangible of when you're hitting your ceiling a little bit with capacity and you think, "Oh, well, I don't wanna add to the team because right now I don't have revenue to support it." Like, you subconsciously, I think, slow down your own growth. Whereas if you start planning for and modeling what is the next hire, and I told my team even recently, I said, "I'm always thinking about what is the next hire. What's the trigger? What's the missing skill set? Or what's the missing component that we don't have on the team?" So always being in that mindset because that's necessary for growth.
Now that you mentioned, I'm curious what that next potential hire is for you or what you're thinking about.
There's different ideas on the table, but I would say probably the biggest demand from in terms of client work, we do a lot in the digital marketing space, so everything from paid ads across digital platforms to organic social media, Instagram Reels, that all of the stuff. So, probably another resource, really savvy reel maker, the content capture creative sort. Kinda everyone on our team has naturally, I think, a design aesthetic. A few people are formally trained in design, looking for that aesthetic, the person who really just understands content strategy and its evolving nature across digital platforms. You can be stagnant very quickly.
Got it. Given that you're looking on growing the team, I'm assuming the agency is continuing to grow. I'm curious what has been the most reliable client acquisition channel or strategy that's fueling that growth.
The growth is not linear, though. Like, hats off to people who can achieve that straight line from inception to sale at the end. It's definitely up and down, but I would say on the whole, we consider ourselves local experts, right? It's our clients are aiming for local audience engagement. So I think it's gonna be different for different types of agencies. If you are an Amazon agency and your clients are selling worldwide, I think your acquisition is gonna have to look very different. But for us being local, being embedded here, we're all very active in nonprofits. We serve on boards. We're active in the local chambers. We are present in the business community in a way that is just meaningful and lasting. So, relationship building, because the majority of our work comes from either past clients coming back, referrals from past clients, but then it's really those personal relationships that a number of us have built over the years in the community that generates referral traffic. But we do invest in our own search engine optimism. We have our own business development tactics that we deploy to keep our name out there, brand recognition, all that good stuff that we tell our clients to do. We try to be good sports about doing it for ourselves. But I would say at the end of the day, for what we're after, it's nothing beats the sort of the principal introductions.
Good old relationships.
That's right. Smiling, shaking hands.
So, Jennifer, you mentioned sell. Is that potentially where you're looking to take the agency in the future? Would it be an exit? Is that what you're gearing up for?
I think going into it, and I think you're a lot younger than I am looking at the retirement years more fondly, maybe than I did when I started the agency. So I think you build it with exit in mind. Otherwise, it's a job. And that's perfectly fine. It depends on what you want out of it, right? If you're building an agency to have an intrinsic value that is more than the sum of its parts, that's building for strategic exit, whatever that looks like. So, yes, I don't wanna work forever. So, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, but I am absolutely modeling and thinking about that all the time.
That's a very interesting point. For other agency owners, entrepreneurs listening that might be future thinking along those lines, what sort of tools or resources would you be able to share with them, or not even just knowledge of where to go to start building the agency with that intention?
Yeah, a few years ago, I worked with a business coach. And I think getting past your own ego and you started your agency, probably you came from an agency and you thought I could do this, or you came up as a marketer and you thought I could build an agency, or you come in with a lens. But until you're in the seat of doing all of it, I'm no HR expert and I'm no like finance guru. Like all those things have to be learned. Working with a business coach early on helps you identify the blind spots and figure out a path forward. But then over the years, I just find myself on lists, right? Like whether it's M&A firms that specialize in agencies or just email lists of agency growth. If you just Google agency growth experts, they're everywhere. And so you get kernels of wisdom from them. And you take what you like and you move on. It's just incorporating those types of things into your thinking. But I think as you look towards, if I once I have a date in mind, whatever that is, I'll probably start actually working again with some type of coach or consultant in that space. I don't know, 2, 3 years ahead of when I actually want to exit. And I've certainly made friends with a number of agency owners, founders who've left, and I've seen people literally just close up shop, and I've seen people sell practices and different iterations in between. So, there's no one way, there's no rule, but I thinking about it and then making decisions and planning for what you want is gonna be better than just saying, "I wonder what."
Yeah. I'm curious because you mentioned that obviously you're in the space, you have friends that are also in the space. What are some of the challenges that other agency owners are facing currently when it comes to growing the agency, scaling, whether it's their team, whether it's sales, whether it's products? What are some of the challenges that you're hearing and seeing out there?
I think, we're seeing 2 things, and what I'm hearing is one is while pipelines are still growing, moving through the pipeline is slow. Where we live, our region has been, I think, disproportionately impacted with a lot of federal layoffs, and there's a trickle-down effect in our economy that is just emotional. And so I see clients just being slower, more deliberate on the onboarding side. So whereas it used to be from introduction to signing a contract might be 2 months or 3 months, we're seeing it take 5, 6 months. That's a real impact. The other side that's been tricky in the past has always been talent. And when you're an agency, I truly believe you're in the people business because marketing's not hard. We just choose to specialize in it and make it we're passionate about it. We're passionate about creativity and connecting people and the impact side of it. And so I think that's what ends up every agency's secret sauce is their people, right? And ensuring hiring for a fit. And I think most skills that we have in our agency, I could teach a smart person. So it's really about just keeping the people tight, right? Like they represent your agency, they are our secret sauce. I think right now, from an agency perspective, hiring has gotten a little easier. A year ago or 2 years ago, when I embarked upon a hiring expedition, it took me almost, I would say, 9 months to get the team where I needed it to be when I had a departure. That was a really rough go right now because of a lot of layoffs, and it's interesting when I do hiring, the number of people who are on the market from law firm marketing departments. It just seems to be this niche that is like an early indicator of downsizing. I get all these applications from people who are part of the marketing department of these huge agencies, and they're gone. They get riffed really quickly. Right now, the amount of just uninvited, "Hey, are you hiring?" That's gone through the roof. So, if you're hiring right now, there seems to be a lot of talent out there, which is great if you're the employer. So that can be and has been a struggle over the years. Because when you're small, we don't have layers of people. We don't keep people on the bench, right? You have to have your team utilized. So there's not a lot of get in that position of, oh shit, they have a baby or they want to move and God forbid they don't want to work for me anymore. It's heartbreaking because 1, they're awesome, that's why they were on my team, and 2, what do you do? That can really slow down, and for me, when I think about a year ago when I was heads down in the middle of a hiring process, I was doing no pipeline build. I was not doing relationship management. I was not nurturing my network. That's not a good thing to do because then you come up for air and you're finally ready, and it's like, "Where have you been?" So that to me is the big struggle for when you're a small agency.
That makes sense. And speaking of how things are changing in the current climate, AI is a huge topic. How do you see AI affecting the marketing industry as a whole? And how are you all leveraging it to stay competitive?
I mean, like the daily topic, right? In fact, I think I did a webinar, was it today or yesterday, that was like talking about staying competitive in the world of AI. The presenter's main point was AI can't replace the human connection, and people are hiring humans, right? They're not hiring task managers. If you put your agency in the position of just being task takers, then yeah, your value is at risk in an age of AI. So I think really making your secret sauce your people and make them part of the team and make them committed to the end goal and the mission of your clients, that's how you stay competitive. The other thing, everybody's learning this at the same time. Our clients are learning it, we're learning it, and we have a lot of fun playing around with it, and we certainly use it. I use it to crunch data. I use it to help me assess my tone of writing, what where are my blind spots, and my team uses it sometimes to help create outlines or come up with a list of themes. And, you ever watch Mad Men, that old show? Love that show.
I haven't watched full seasons of it, but I know of it. I've seen clips of it.
At this point, it's old, but, like, when it came out, I was, like, addicted to the show. There's, like, these scenes where he goes out and he says to the copywriter, "I need 50 headlines by end of day." When you got an old-fashioned copywriter going, "What's the tagline?" And it just like, that kind of stuff, and I'll be like, "Here's my 5 shitty taglines, chat, help me riff off of this," and then usually, like, one, and you're like, "Oh, that gives me a new idea," and so it becomes this, like, sparring partner, so I like using it that way. The thing that us agencies have to do, I think we have to be really transparent with our clients. I think our clients need to be reassured that you're still bringing your originality to the table, that we are not just now having a tool do something that would take humans hours, and we certainly never present AI work as if it was our own, right? Like, it goes through a human, it gets edited by a human, but I think it has a great place. I recently spent a long time setting up and I have a pro version of ChatGPT, but I have it set up as my business coach, and because you can set up projects, and so I'm like, "Here's what I wanna work on. What do you need to know from me to help me think through some of these problems?" Amazing, it comes back and it'll ask you, "Do you want sort of supportive guidance or, like, hard brass tacks? What tone do you want me to take?" You're having this sort of developmental conversation. It takes a lot of time, though, because you can only get out good stuff once you've prompted it correctly with the right information to actually use it appropriately, and there's so many risks. We have it help us with some blog posts, so I'll take a transcript from, like, a video interview just like this, and I throw in the transcript, and we have a format we want it to follow, so it's the same prompt, so it all comes out, we want the output consistent. Write me an intro, and I was doing this for a series of interviews, and then someone on my team was like, "The transcript was empty." All it had was, like, your little, "Hey, can you hear me okay? I can hear you. Yeah, you can hear me." But yet chat took that and created all my output that I was asking it to do from nothing. It's like, you have to pay attention, you have to be careful. So, I don't think it's replacing agencies, but I do think it might help us do our research faster. It might help us test messaging faster. What is it gonna look like in 5 years? I'm sure there's so many third-party applications using the power of AI, and I'm sure every tool you use has it built in, right? Like, I use Google. It has it built in. I'll be in a spreadsheet and it's, "Would you like some help analyzing your data?" It's, "Sure," but it doesn't even know what to look at, right? So there's a lot of things that's trying to use AI it's a little rough around the edges, but I think it's pretty exciting to see where it's gonna go. I think our biggest value as agencies, when we're thinking about this from a content perspective, because I think a lot of clients think AI will just their whole content strategy can now be generated by AI. Everybody who's in the business, we all know when AI's written this stuff, this sort of tone. And the whole idea of content strategy, I mean, we do SEO and I get there's technical SEO strategy, but real content strategy, real authority building, real social proof comes from being authentic and having your own voice. And what AI does is it takes that away. And everyone starts sounding the same. As an agency, it's really helping our clients understand that this isn't about just how fast we can spit out more, but it's like, how good can we be that you stand out? Because now we're just in a world with that much more competition of the attention economy and stuff.
For sure. And the barrier to entry in the agency space is so low at this point. And then plus the addition of AI makes a lot of sense. Circling back to something that you mentioned before, Jennifer, it sounds like you've had to master so many areas of business in order to achieve the success that you're having so far. What areas of life have you had to master?
I think all business owners, when you go home, it's that you could easily be in work mode all the time because it's always all of it's on you. So I've always been very good about blocking from a physical time perspective, like going to my kids' stuff, being home for dinner, I not toiling away to midnight. That part's not wasn't hard for me. But what was hard was the mental side of it. It was the thinking about it all the time. It was the letting, my mood be impacted because it's always on your mind. So I think that's the challenge, but I don't think I'm alone. Even non-owners, I hear from some of my team members, like who people care deeply about what we're doing, right? And working with other small businesses, like you really see the impact you can have in people's lives. And so we take that home with us emotionally. That can be hard.
For sure. Yeah. And do you have any specific mechanisms or strategies that you use to deal with those emotions or any practices that you've had to develop over the years?
Not really, but that's on the to-do list, figure out that later. I have learned that because you're stuck, right? It's the head in the sand doesn't solve your biggest business problems. So, I think it's just really and making sure that you're not just carrying the load yourself. That's where it's like having your blind spots identified so that you aren't every day freaking out about doing my books. Eventually sucked it up and said, "I'm gonna have somebody help me with my books." It's like you have to almost let go in order to grow. Just even that sort of, like, leadership role.
It sounds like you've brought on either team members or hired partners to solve some of these challenges. So I think you do have a mechanism, which is find the help and find the right people to support you.
Yeah, I've hired a person here and a person there to do those sorts of things, but then I'm still like, "Nah, I don't need a virtual assistant." Everyone tells me I do, and then I talk to them, they send you the list of all the things they could take off your plate, and I was like, "I don't mind doing those."
I hear you. What are you most excited for in the next couple years, Jennifer?
A lot of our clients are, like, growing in exciting ways, and we're part of that, like, we're helping with brand strategy and growth strategy, and, like, so I'm excited to shepherd through some things that they have coming. And for me, it's always, what's the next thing gonna be? What's our next new client? I love the variety, and if someone's came to me and said, "Oh, you're just gonna have the clients I have, we love our clients." We have such a variety of clients. But if someone said that's what you're gonna work on till you retire, that would make me sad. I love when you answer the phone and you're like, "I've never worked on that before. That sounds fascinating." And then you realize you have all these threads that you can pull into it from all the other work that you've done. To me, that's the most exciting part and that's part of our pitch and our value prop is there are agencies, and I will go toe to toe with people who are niche versus anti-niche. I'm anti-niche, and it's volatile, but one of our my value prop to that is if I'm working with my home builder client, learning stuff and I'm testing things and I'm deploying marketing that is gonna inform how I'm helping my, like, senior housing or my senior care client. And that wouldn't make sense. If I was only in the business of elder care and all my clients worked with the elder care space, I would not have that cross-industry perspective. I would miss things. So I think it brings a richness, and that's really exciting.
Jennifer, getting ready to wrap up here. Where can people learn more about you, your agency, or anything that we spoke about here today?
The agency, we're arlingtonstrategy.com, and then all the socials are Arlington Strategy or Arl Strat, and then I'm on LinkedIn, Jennifer Molchandani, and, it's probably gonna be hard to spell that, but look, do Jennifer Arlington Strategy, you'll find me.
In the show notes to make it.
Yeah, and then our podcast is the M Word, which is marketing, meaning, and what matters.
It's funny that you mentioned a podcast on a podcast. I'm curious, is your podcast focused on brands and businesses?
We really have evolved it over the years. It's about people and their own journey, whether it's their own brand or brand they represent. It's like we talk about the fuck ups and failures. We talk about brick walls, overcoming it. I think so much focuses on the, yeah, you can do it. Everything is like and then we got funding and all was saved. But just to really talk about like the real struggles through marketing and leadership. So it's really human interest, human stories with a lot of brand strategy and marketing for good measure.
Very cool. We can also link that in the show notes for our listeners. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, Chris.